The Ringing Cedars, Series 35, Anastasia, Book 1, Vladimir Megre. Imagination, Creating the Future, Part 2. At such a degree of opposition between two great principles, the light and the dark side, the effect of my efforts is insignificantly small, and the help of many others from your world is also needed. I will look for them and I will find them, like when you were lying in the hospital. Just become at least a little more aware yourself. Overcome the evil in you. So what evil is it in me? What did I do wrong in the hospital? How did you treat me when you weren't around? You just didn't feel my presence then, but I was there. When I was on the ship, I brought you a cedar branch, which my mother broke before she died. I left it in your cabin when you invited me. You were already sick. I had a premonition. Do you remember the twig? Yes, I answered. The twig really hung in my cabin for a long time. Many of the crew saw it. I took her to Novosibirsk. But I didn't attach any meaning to it. You just threw it away. But I didn't know that. You didn't know, you threw it away. And Mom's little branch did not manage to beat the disease. Then you were in the hospital. When you return, carefully review the history of your illness. You will see on the card that there was no improvement, regardless of the fact that the best medicine was used. But then they poured cedar nut oil on you. A doctor following due process should not have done this, but he did, which is not in any of your medical manuals. Do you remember that? You were treated by a woman, the director of the department of one of the best clinics in your city. But that department has nothing to do with your illness. She left you, even though the floor was more of a ward where your guy was being treated. Isn't that right? Yes. She was stabbing you with needles, turning on the music in the half-dark room. Anastasia talked about everything that really happened to me. Do you remember that woman? That. She was the director of the department of the former provincial hospital. And suddenly Anastasia, looking at me seriously, uttered several interrupted expressions, which immediately shook me. Moreover, my body tingled. What kind of music do you like? Okay. Like this? Not loud. She said these words in the same voice and intonation as the director of the department who treated me. Anastasia. I exclaimed. Keep listening, for God's sake, don't be surprised. But try to finally understand what I'm telling you, and at least move your mind a little. All this is very simple for a person at first. This woman is a very good doctor. She is a real doctor. It was easy for me with her. She is good and open. I didn't want you to be transferred to another department. Nevertheless, she asked her superiors, let me go, I will heal. She felt that she would be able to. She knew, your painful places are only the result of the rest. And she tried to fight with this rest. She is a doctor. And how did you behave? You continued to smoke, you drank as much as you wanted, you tasted both hot and salty, and that with such a strong ulcer. You didn't give up anything, no pleasures. Somewhere in your subconscious, something has been cut, but you yourself are not aware of it, that you are not afraid of anything, that nothing will happen to you. I didn't do anything good, quite the opposite. The dark part in your consciousness has not diminished, awareness, willpower has not increased. When you had already recovered, you sent your coworker to the woman who saved your life to wish her a happy holiday, and you didn't even call once. She waited so long for this, she loved you as much as she or you, Anastasia. We, if that will make it clearer to you. Well, you don't understand how I do it again, you're afraid, and it's not difficult to guess, with the help of imagination and a precise analysis of possible circumstances. And you thought of me again. She fell silent, dropping her head to her knees. I thought, but why does she keep talking and saying impossible things? The story itself gets excited because they are incomprehensible. Apparently she doesn't understand that no normal person will accept them, and therefore not even her as normal. And then I still removed Anastasia's strands of hair from her face that were falling down. Tears were dripping from Anastasia's big gray-blue eyes. She's a woman, she's a real woman, isn't she? You don't believe it completely, you can't understand what I'm telling you. The fact that I exist, and my abilities, are unusual to you. You have completely stopped accepting me as a normal human being, and believe me, I am a human being, and I am no witch. You consider my way of life unusual, but why doesn't anything else seem unusual and contradictory to you? Why do people who recognize the Earth as a cosmic body, a magnificent work of the higher reason, tear this mechanism and spend their energies on its destruction? An artificial spaceship or airplane seems natural to you, but all that mechanics is made up of broken and remelted parts of a magnificent mechanism. Imagine a creature that breaks up an airplane in flight to make a hammer or shovel out of its parts, and is proud if it succeeds in making a primitive tool. It does not understand that the plane must not be broken indefinitely. So how do you not understand that our Earth should not be tortured like that? A supercomputer is considered an achievement of the intellect, but hardly anyone can imagine that it is possible to compare it with a brain prosthesis. Can you imagine what will happen to a man who will start walking on crutches in addition to his normal legs? The muscles in his legs will of course become stunted. The machine will never overtake the human brain, if it is constantly trained. At that time I could not even guess that everything she said would excite many people, disturb the minds of scientists, and moreover, as a hypothesis, there would be nothing like it in the world. According to Anastasia, the sun is something like a mirror. It reflects radiation emanating from the Earth, invisible to the eye. It is the radiation of people in a state of love, happiness and some other beneficial feelings. Reflected by the sun, it returns to Earth in the form of sunlight and gives life to everything on Earth. At the same time, she cited a number of proofs, although it was not so easy to understand them. If the Earth and other planets only asked for an abundance of sunlight, she said, then the sun would have to go out, burn unevenly, and its radiation could not be even. There is no one-sided process in the universe and there cannot be, everything is interconnected. She quoted the words from the Bible, and life was a light to men. Anastasia also confirmed that feelings are transmitted from one person to another, reflecting from cosmic bodies. She showed it by example, she said. None of the people living on Earth can deny that they feel when someone loves them. That feeling is strongest when you are next to the one who loves you. You call it intuition. In fact, a person who loves radiates invisible waves of light. But even when the man is not around, if his love is strong, it is also felt. With the help of this feeling, understanding its nature, even miracles can be created. This is what you call miracles, mysticism or amazing abilities. Say, Vladimir, have you gotten a little better with me now? Well, somehow easier, more pleasant, are you more fulfilled? Yes, I answered. For some reason it made me more comfortable. Now look what will happen to you when I focus even more attention on you. Anastasia lowered her eyelashes slightly, slowly moved a few steps back, and stopped. A pleasant warmth spread through my body. She was getting stronger, but she wasn't frying. Anastasia turned and slowly started walking away, hiding behind the thick trunk of a tall tree. The feeling of pleasant warmth did not diminish, it was replenished with new ones, as if something helped the heart to push the blood in the veins, so with each of its beats, the impression was created that jets of blood reached every vein of the body at the same moment. The feet on the legs sweated a lot and became wet. There you see. Is everything clear to you now? Anastasia said jubilantly, appearing from behind the tree, convinced as if she could prove something to me. Well, you felt the whole time when I went behind the trunk of the tree, and your feelings even intensified when you didn't see me. Tell me about it. I told and asked, what does the trunk of the tree confirm? So how did the waves of information and light go straight from me to you? When I hid, the trunk of the tree had to distort them a lot because it has its own information and its own radiation, but that didn't happen. Waves of feeling began to reach you, reflecting off the cosmic bodies they intensified. And then I did what you call a miracle, your feet started to sweat. You hid it from me. I didn't attach importance to that. So what miracle is there in sweating feet? I expelled many different sores from your body through your legs. You should feel much better now. Indeed, I physically felt better. So, well, that's how you focus your attention, you fantasize a little and it turns out what you want. Kind of like that. It always works for you too, even when you dream, not only about healing. Always. If daydreaming is not abstract. If it is interwoven in detail with the smallest events and does not contradict the laws of spiritual reality. Such daydreaming does not always succeed. It is necessary that the thought moves very, very quickly and that the vibration. The feeling is appropriate, so it will necessarily manifest itself. It's natural. This happens to many people in life. Ask your acquaintances. Maybe among them there are those who fantasized a little and the fantasy came true in full or in part. To work out in detail. To think. In order to move quickly. Say, when you fantasized about poets, artists, about a book, did you do it in detail? Did your mind think fast? Unusually fast. And everything really, down to the smallest details. Do you think now that it will come true? Yes, it will come true. And you didn't dream about anything then? Did you tell me all about your fantasies? I haven't told you everything about my fantasy. Then say everything. Do you want to listen to me, Vladimir? Truly? Yes.